While Jay Shetty and Mel Robbins are being dragged through the mud, the one person I don't hear people talking about is Vishen Lakhiani. And while that name might not be familiar, his company is. Have you ever heard of Mindvalley? For those who are uninitiated, Mindvalley is an online platform that has all kinds of classes in it. It's everything from body work to mind development to speed reading, which I'm going to go talk about in just a second. I became interested in Mindvalley when I was doing research for my book, Hoodwinked. And I started talking about a group of guys that I called brofluencers. And what I found about Mindvalley, which is what got my antenna going, was that I couldn't find any negative information about the company. And that's always like a red flag for me. I mean, every company has somebody saying something bad about it. And what happened was I went onto YouTube and I kept looking at these videos, and they were all the line saying, I went to Mindvalley. I'm going to give you the real story about Mindvalley. And then what they would do is, give a 30 seconds or so about being kind of skeptical. But then I paid attention and, my life completely changed, and their courses are only 20 minutes long, and it didn't take a lot of my day, and so on and so forth. But then you go look into the show notes, and almost all of them have affiliate links. So it has nothing to do with them thinking that this is a good company. It's that they're making money if they can get people to sign up. And if you do sign up, it's either almost $300 for a year, or if you pay monthly, it's $49, which ends up being $600 for the year. So the better deal, obviously, is to pay for an entire year. And there are some legitimate classes on there by some people who are legitimate teachers, but there's also a lot of schlock. So after looking into Mindvalley, I started looking into Vishen Lakhiani. And I happened to be at an academic conference, and one of the people sitting next to me wrote a paper about him and talked about him as kind of the new Deepak Chopra. And, we know what we think about Deepak Chopra these days. And if you didn't know, Deepak Chopra started as the press/PR/marketing person for the Maharishi. So Vishen Lakhiani, everything he does feels like a little too polished. And he started this because he was a salesperson and he discovered something called Silva mind control, which has been widely denounced as hooey. But anyway, he said after he used Silva mind control, he was able to sell to anybody. But one of the things that he does oftentimes is talk about speed reading.
When you have so many other commitments in life, that can be difficult. And that's why I started studying speed reading. In my own book, The Code of the Extraordinary Mind, I talk about a concept called refresh rate. I say that if there's something that you do in the form of personal growth, whether it's reading or working out in the gym or cooking a nutritious meal, every now and then, extract time from doing that act to invest time in how to do that act better.
This video goes on for several minutes, and while it looks like he's going to tell you about how to speed read, he never actually does that. But what he does do, and there are videos online that show this, is he reads books by just rubbing his hands along the letters. Doesn't actually read them. And yeah, there is legitimate speed reading when you move your finger across the page and it goes faster. That's not what he's doing. He's doing it so fast nobody could possibly retain any of the information. Now, the other place I have seen that is the Kabbalah Center. And the Kabbalah Center, which some of you may or may not know, is an organization that is basically a money-making institution, and it has very little to do with legitimate Kabbalah, or as they pronounce it, Kabbalah. Traditionally, Kabbalah is only taught to men over 40 who have already been very much versed in the Jewish tradition. But the Kabbalah Center said, no, this is for everybody. I've done other videos about the Kabbalah Center, and if you want me to provide more information about the organization, it's not a pretty picture. I had to rewrite parts of my book because they are very litigious, and we know that's kind of a calling card for cults. But let's get back to Vishen Lakhiani. So he hits all the high notes in terms of making sure that he chooses topics that people are going to be interested in. The latest topic, or one that he hit on a couple of years ago, is this idea of coaching. And this, I have to tell you, this just cracked me up. They created a video called, Are There Too Many Coaches? Now, this isn't him, but this is a video for Mindvalley. Take a look.
If you feel like there are too many coaches in the world, you're not alone. When I started as a coach, I started as a business coach. As I was moving into the career of business coaching, I was going to events. I often would feel so defeated as I would end my prospecting. And that narrative that constantly told me how I'm not going to get ahead, or there are too many coaches, other people are more successful than I am, that really pushed me back by months, maybe even years of my success.
So they have a whole sales course about teaching people how to be coaches, saying you don't have to have ever been a coach before, you don't ever have to have taught before, you don't have to have experience in anything. And you really got to be suspicious when they start marketing something under the line of, if you think there's too many coaches, that's a myth. So what you're seeing is they jumped on the coaches coaching coaches bandwagon. And this became very hot in the last couple of years for a couple of reasons. One, a number of people who were part of MLMs got tired of selling for MLMs. You've got to be posting all the time. You've got to be doing all that work. And they went, oh, I'm successful at this. Let me pivot and I'll become a coach and teach other people how to be good at this. The other is influencers who, after a decade of being online, realized it's just exhausting. Posting 7 days a week, 365 days, having people yell at you if you don't post, it's exhausting. And so they said, you know what? I'll become a coach and teach other people how to do this. But if you're looking at Mindvalley, I really take a second look. Also, I have a post about this on my blog, and you can find the link up in my bio.